Hey everybody, what do you say? JGA 59 here, Gannon, and hope everybody's doing well and that they had a nice Father's Day weekend. uh, Today, I'd like to share with you just a couple of items that maybe you haven't seen regarding Joe DiMaggio before. What you see in front of you right now is a card that I acquired I think it was the second New York baseball card show back in 1973. They had some cards that were autographed by Joe DiMaggio, who at the time was doing commercials for the Bowery Savings Bank, and had some kind of a jingle. I can't remember all the words, but it goes, "The Bowery, the Bowery, the Bowery saves a lot. The Bowery gives you 6% when the da-da-da-da-da-da. Simply do not." Something like that. I looked for it on the internet, could not find it. So, but yeah, he used to do commercials for the Bowery, and somebody had these cards signed by him. And let's see if I can get in there. And the reason why I picked this particular card, I was going through the pile, it was a small pile, maybe 50 cards or so. And, I was looking for a good condition card. And then I noticed one that was signed on the front and the back. And this was the only one that was signed on the front and the back. So I took this one. And you can see on the bottom it says the Bowery, the largest savings bank in America. Don't think it's around anymore. And this is in the style of the 1971 set, right? And at the bottom it says 1972 copyright. But yeah, I'm sure I got this in 1973. And what does it say here? A classic combination of grace, speed, and power. Joe led the New York Yankees to numerous World Series championships during the 1936 through 1951 seasons. His 56-game consecutive hitting streak still stands as a Major League record. Voted to all-time Hall of Fame outfield, along with Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb. And there you see his lifetime statistics. Yeah, 361 home runs, a 325 lifetime average. And he would have hit more home runs if he had played in another stadium, but the old Yankee Stadium, the dimensions were pretty far to left field and to left center field. But he had 361 anyway. And so, yeah, I don't know if any of you have seen this card. I've seen some, on the net here and there. But anyway, this is the one I picked up. Okay, we'll put this card here. And next, what I'd like to show you is, it was in the back of one of the sporting magazines, and there was somebody selling matchbooks from Joe DiMaggio's restaurant in San Francisco on Fisherman's Wharf. And I remember in the ad, it said, "Guaranteed to be a real collector's item one day." And the person who was selling it was selling them for $1 each. So I sent a dollar or a check for $1. I can't remember. And, they sent me back this match. And now, first of all, I don't know if this is the matchbook. You'll understand why in a minute. But yeah, it's a nice picture of Joe in the back. Anyway, when I got the matchbook, it was clear that it was a kid who had, sent the matchbook to me. And, I was, maybe 13 at the time or something like that. Anyway, began to feel like, maybe I was sort of ripped off, $1 for a matchbook cover. And, I don't know. I felt like I have no regrets now, but I felt slightly scammed. And my father, I told him about it, and he traveled all the time, and he went out to San Francisco quite a bit. So he said that the next trip out there, he would go to Joe's restaurant and see if they had any of these matchbooks. And you see the inside. And, yeah, lo and behold, he said they just had, these sitting in a bowl, right as you walked in. And he just grabbed a handful for me. And I want to get these in the camera here. Oh, now wait a minute. Okay. And, it was funny. And I really felt, like, oh, geez, I really got ripped off. You just walk into the restaurant and pick up these matchbooks. So my father said, what you should do is, mail him back 2 of them. But I didn't do it. So one of these is, the matchbook I got from the kid, and the rest of them are the ones my father grabbed at the restaurant. But that was just a bit of a funny story. Anyway, just give you another look at the matchbook. It's no longer there. And I think I've seen on the net other versions of the matchbook. Over the years they had different styles. So, but anyway, I think the young kid was correct, though. Guaranteed to be a real collector's item someday. So, I certainly do not feel badly about sending him $1 for one of these. All right, real quickly now, what should I do? I'm going to try not to stop the camera. I'm going to move everything off to the side. And I want to put in front of you a magazine that this isn't the one I had when I was a kid, but this is a copy of Sport Magazine from August of 1968. And I ordered this off the net a few years ago because I did have this as a kid. And inside, there's so many great articles and pictures in this particular issue. There's one about Joe DiMaggio, and he had just been hired by Charlie Finley to work with the young A's on their hitting. Let me see if I can find the page. It's page 16. There we go. And shoot. See, how am I going to do this? Hold on. Okay, you see the things if I hold it up. Maybe I should hold the camera, but then I won't be able to read what I want to read. But anyway, in this picture, you see Joe talking to, on the left, a player named John Donaldson, who, I guess, maybe I never really heard of. But next to him, you have Reggie Jackson, and then right next to Joe is Rick Monday, and sitting down, right here is Sal Bando, and here's Joe Rudy. And, previously, in 1967, the A's had a horrible year. They finished 10th, and, so Charlie Finley hired Joe to, come along and maybe work with the players. And let me read you just a little bit from this article. It says, "Oh man," groaned a voice from a rear locker of the Oakland Athletics clubhouse one evening this past May. "Here comes the judge." The gag line from television's Rowan and Martin show was aimed at a tall, lean, dignified man who had walked in wearing a tailored gray suit and was heading toward his own dressing quarters. Joe DiMaggio glanced over his shoulder as he walked, and his voice dropped to a deep bass. "Yes, indeed," he said. and the word is guilty. The young, brash, playful athletics, with a team batting average of 221 at the time, were convulsed by the reply. The clubhouse rocked with laughter. The whole world has told them they can't hit. They know better than that. In fact, they have some highly promising hitters in Reggie Jackson, Rick Monday, Ramon Webster, and Sal Bando. The A's think of themselves as a first division team this season and as pennant challengers in 1968. And what evidence of their confidence is the fact that they can kid about their hitting with Executive Vice President Joseph P. DiMaggio, whose duties include tutoring the young A's in the fine art of swinging a piece of wood at a thrown sphere. "Why don't you show me how to hit like you did?" asks Salvatore Bando, walking up to DiMaggio with his hands outstretched, pleading. Bando is a 195-pound mass of muscle, age 24, an infielder with a home run swing. Bando's grin becomes a shout of mirth when DiMaggio retorts breezily, "That's simple, Sal. Nobody can make chicken dumplings out of chicken droppings." I'll read you one more paragraph. I mean, you know what it is? In this article, what comes across is the ease and the great relationship between Joe DiMaggio and the players. There wasn't like this distant aloofness that, you always hear about, that you couldn't approach Joe DiMaggio. He was totally one of the guys. They used to kid around and have a great time. But, the players, held him in awe and, respected him so much. And whenever he, gave advice, in the article, one of the players said it was like going to church. I do remember Joe Rudy saying once that great catch he made in the 1972 World Series when the A's played the Reds, that catch where he jumped up against the wall. I remember actually seeing that at the time, too. I was watching that game. He said that he would have been able to make that catch if it hadn't been for the coaching that Joe DiMaggio had given him. And it's also on the other page in the book. I'm sorry, I'm not. There's also. It's great. Some of the interaction he has with Reggie Jackson, giving him instruction. Really, kind of revelatory. Talking to him about how to hit, and it's just something to. I don't want to take too long and read the whole thing to you, but anyhow, this is a great. Magazine, and this I got it because I did have it as a kid. I'm just thinking, should I read you that stuff about Reggie? It's really, maybe, I don't want the video to go on too long, but, we're already at 13 minutes. It's just really interesting stuff, how he's, okay, let me see here. All right. They start talking about Reggie Jackson, a big, 200 pounds, young, 22, Willie Mays type. Jackson is a left-handed outfielder with close to 300 with power in the minors in 1966 and 1967. I'm just going to jump around here. A lot of things Joe DiMaggio showed me in spring training helped me get a fast start, he says, Reggie. I'm still a novice player. Joe knows that, but he treats me like a real pro, and I guess I have caught on quickly to his ideas on how to make contact with the ball. First off, DiMaggio stopped Jackson from waggling his bat when he came to the ready position, saying, take your warm-up swings and then hold steady. Bat, hands, wrists, head, the whole body. Don't let looping or any other necessary motion break your concentration on the pitch. Next, he slowed down Jackson's hip action. You're rushing your hip pivot because you want to pull the ball, was the word. It'll be time enough to work on pulling when you've played a few hundred games. Don't open up your hips quite so soon, and you'll get a longer look at the pitch, and you'll be getting solid line drive wood on it. In Jackson's first trip in the Yankee Stadium, Mel Stottlemyre put down the first 10 athletics in order. Just before I went up to swing against Stottlemyre a second time, Reggie recalls, Joe called me to one side. Get those hands down, he said. You've got them too high. That bat's almost wrapped around your head. You're overcocking. Keep the bat perpendicular at a right angle with your shoulders. And next time up, Reggie rammed a low fastball halfway up the right center bleachers, 440 feet away. Later, he singled and the Athletics won. He had 2 homers and 3 singles in the 2-game Yankee series. And, he says, I've kept my hands right where Joe told me ever since. And one last thing. He was having trouble against Jim Merritt of the Twins. And it was the A's were playing a tight game against the Twins, and Jackson had struck out on off-speed curveballs. So back on the bench, he told DiMaggio, I don't feel the same as I did in the cage during practice. How do I look to you? Different, said DiMaggio. You don't look the same at all. Well, Jackson hung the question. You're swinging too hard. You're looking for fast stuff that you want to rip. But this guy plans to low curve you all night. Since that's a fact, you don't have to do any guessing. You know how to handle breaking balls by now. Relax and just swing the way you did during practice. And Jackson, what was it? After that, he had a long run-scoring line drive to center field, and then the next time up, he singled again, and he set up a winning rally for the A's. In the article, the Athletics talk about feeling that they can finish in the first division, and they had, remember, they had finished 10th in 1967. Well, they actually, the team, the last team that finished, by the way, what does that mean, the first division? Back then, there were 2 10-team leagues. But if you were one of the first 5, if you finished, why can I put this together? If you finished anywhere from between 1st to 5th place, you finished in the first division. If you finished anywhere from 6th to 10th place, you finished in the second division of the league. The Yankees were the team that finished 5th place that year, so they just made the first division. The A's finished 1 game behind the Yankees in 6th place, so they missed finishing in the first division that year by 1 game. Okay, so it would seem that Joe DiMaggio did help them out quite a bit that year. It was also their first year in Oakland. So anyway, I just wanted to share these things with you. The Joe DiMaggio Barry Savings Bank card, the DiMaggio matchbooks, guaranteed to be a real souvenir one day, they tell me. And just thought I'd share one more time my 1939 play ball. That was my first video. I featured these and some other 39 play balls that I got back when I was a kid from a gentleman named Mr. Siebert. And I just love this card. It has so much meaning to me. As my mom and I went to meet Mr. Siebert, and this card reminds me of her and those times way back when. All right, everybody. So I appreciate you hanging in this long. I hope you didn't mind my reading a little bit out of the Sport magazine. But anyway, Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye.